Daniel was born in a small rural town, far from any major city. He grew up in a practical, disciplined environment, dreaming about technology, aviation, and the future. Realizing there were no real opportunities back home, he moved first to a large northern city and later transferred to a university in the capital, where he trained as an aerospace engineer. Working on aircraft was fascinating, but for some reason, it never gave him a true sense of fulfillment. Eventually, he changed paths and took a job in the city's underground transit system. He became part of the maintenance crew. His duties included inspecting train cars, repairing equipment, identifying technical issues, and checking communication systems throughout the tunnels between stations. Strangely enough, the subway became a place that felt almost otherworldly to him. It reminded him of the tunnels from science fiction films about deep space travel. In a way, this was where he finally felt he belonged. In 1984, while working on one of the central lines, he encountered something he could not explain. His shift began after the subway system had closed for the night. That evening, he was assigned to inspect a tunnel section between two stations. As usual, he followed a route he knew well. But suddenly, along a familiar stretch, he noticed a passage that had never been there before. Curious, he decided to investigate. What was this branch, and how had no one ever noticed it? There were no rails, no cables, no signs of infrastructure. The walls, however, were smooth, almost intentionally finished. It gave the impression that the tunnel had once been planned for use, but later abandoned. And yet, Daniel knew this couldn't be true. He had worked in that area for 5 years. There were no undocumented tunnels there. And still, it existed. And if it existed, he had to examine it and report it. He checked his tunnel schematics again. According to the official plans, there was supposed to be nothing but a solid wall in that exact spot. No passage, no branch, nothing. Still, he marked the location and stepped into the unknown tunnel. There was no lighting at all. The darkness swallowed everything beyond the narrow beam of his flashlight. As he moved forward, he noticed a strange smell in the air, sharp, chemical, like ammonia. He followed it. Soon he found the source. A black substance covered sections of the tunnel walls in thick patches. It looked like smeared tar, but it pulsed slightly, dotted with small bubbles that would burst and release that same pungent smell. The sight made his stomach tighten. For the first time, he regretted being alone. With a partner, this would have felt less wrong. Easier to explain later, easier to believe. Carefully making sure none of the substance was on the ground, he continued deeper. The last thing he wanted was to step into whatever that was. The tunnel curved away, drifting off at an angle. Judging by direction, it seemed to be heading northeast, possibly toward another subway line. He walked for 15, maybe 20 minutes, convinced he would eventually reach a known section of the system. But he didn't. Instead, it felt like he was going deeper, as if the subway itself now lay somewhere above him. At some point, he heard it, a faint rustling ahead. He stopped, raised the flashlight, and saw movement in the darkness. Something was coming toward him. When the beam finally revealed it, his blood ran cold. His breath caught in his throat. A pale figure crawled toward him on all fours. Its limbs were unnaturally long, its movement slow and deliberate. And then, another one emerged behind it. Humanoid shapes, thin, colorless, with dark, hollow pits where eyes should have been. They moved closer, Without thinking, Daniel turned and ran. Behind him, the sound followed. A sickening noise, like grinding teeth or cracking bones. It grew louder, faster. It felt like they were gaining on him. He burst out of the tunnel and didn't stop running. He sprinted along the tracks toward the nearest station. Only when he reached it did he finally collapse, gasping for air. No one followed. Not after 10 minutes. Not after 15. Eventually, forcing himself to stay calm, he went back. He walked the entire section again. There was no tunnel, no passage, no opening, nothing. Could it have been a hallucination? A moment of madness? Unlikely. He remembered everything. The smell, the sounds, the movement. For a while, he hesitated. Should he report it or keep quiet? In the end, he told his supervisors. To his surprise, they listened. No jokes, no ridicule. They even sent him back to verify. But when nothing was found, his Nachanik simply looked at him and said quietly, "I've seen things down there too. Better not talk about it. Most people wouldn't understand."